Judgment will be served. The Alkebulan kidnapped will receive justice by any means necessary. I repeat, judgment will be served. The Alkebulan kidnapped will receive justice by any means necessary.
Well, okay. The judgment seat is here. What it do, my people? It's your brother, man, from the motherland, coming to you guys live from the NY, back with another one. A new, brand new show titled The Verdict, Facts Over Beliefs, where we are now letting go of December conversation and we are indulging into a new situation. And that situation is proclaiming our freedom, receiving justice and pure righteousness, and holding everybody accountable for all the atrocities and wickedness that was done to the Al-Kebulan kidnapped people. And nobody better to do it than I, me, him, June, the Honorable June, NBIC. And round of applause for that. Yeah. I hope you guys like the background, man. You know, that's why it took me so long, man. I was really setting up, putting things together. You know, then I had to get myself together. No excuses, but you know how we do, man. When we out for perfection, you know, a perfectionist is never on time. Always remember that. It's never on time. But definitely want to say thank you to you guys for your continuous support, leaving all the feedback, the positive, the negative, all things is respected and needed because it allows me to do what I do best, and that is to keep my foot on all heathens, Hebrews, heathenites, and also all religion, Christianity, Judaism, Hinduism, Hebrewism, and any other isms that's keeping us in prison. Gunshots to lose. Yeah, man. Today is gonna be a phenomenal one. I wanted to introduce you guys and show you the creation of Christianity, the creation of a religion that was then later on forced upon black and browns. To fast forward till today, this is still the same religion that's keeping us in a state of being drowned and no longer found. And we also are now associated or taking that story, that creation, and, you know, using it with black faces, black names, black locations, but the foundation of it all still remains a creation of the oppressors. But without further ado, this is a 40-minute video. Shout out to my brothers, the Astronaut Archives, for this phenomenal video. They put it out. I'm just another person just sharing the message. And it's gonna be a good one, man. I hope you guys grab your popcorn and yeah, get ready for the show. Hold on. Make sure everything is right. Every oh good. All right, guys. So without further ado, let's do what it do. And if you're just joining in for the first time, click that subscription, turn it into a blue, so you can always receive your brother's June's point of view. Let us go.
Okay, I've got that. It seems like you're starting a video or a live.
It has often been emphasized that Christianity is unlike any other religion, for it stands or falls by certain events which are alleged to have occurred during a short period of time some 20 centuries ago. Those stories are presented in the New Testament, and as new evidence is revealed, it will become clear that they do not represent historical realities. The Church agrees, saying, "Our documentary sources of knowledge about the origins of Christianity and its earliest development are chiefly the New Testament scriptures, the authenticity of which we must, to a great extent, take for granted." The Church makes extraordinary admissions about its New Testament. For example, when discussing the origin of those writings, the most distinguished body of academic opinion ever assembled admits that the Gospels do not go back to the 1st century of the Christian era. This statement conflicts with priesthood assertions that the earliest Gospels were progressively written during the decades following the death of the Gospel Jesus Christ.
So, you guys, I encourage you guys to look into these encyclopedias, gather some information. We're gonna be banging the gavel all day today. I'm just letting you guys know off the. Make sure the gavel. There we go. There we go. The gavel will be banging today, people. Okay. So when I see the foolishness, I'm gonna pause it and I'm gonna bang the gavel. But you already see how they starting off. This is their people saying this. This is not me. This is not my assumptions. This is not my assertions. This is not my beliefs. These are the facts. Okay? Facts, people. Let's continue.
In a remarkable aside, the Church further admits that the earliest of the extant manuscripts of the New Testament, it is true, do not date back beyond the middle of the 4th century AD. That is some 350 years after the time the Church claims that a Jesus Christ walked the sands of Palestine. And here the true story of Christian origins slips into one of the biggest black holes in history. There is, however, a reason why there were no New Testaments until the 4th century. They were not written until then, and here we find evidence of the greatest misrepresentation of all time. It was British-born Flavius Constantinus.
Did he just say British-born? But yet, the KJV is a black man's book written by a black man put together to heal and protect the black man. Let me bang the gavel again. Yeah.
Also known as Constantine, who authorized the compilation of the writings now called the New Testament. After the death of his father in 306 AD, Constantine became king of Britain, Gaul, and Spain, and then, after a series of victorious battles, emperor of the Roman Empire.
Oh, I just want to throw this out there that he is also related to the man that wrote the Ethiopian Bible, the Ethiopian Black Bible. They related. The person that wrote the Ethiopian Bible was a Byzantine king. He was the ruler of the Byzantine Empire. He stepped down to pursue being a Christian monk. Okay? And he was the overseer. They referred to him as Abba Grimmerson. Okay? Yes. They're related.
Christian historians give little or no hint of the turmoil of the time and suspend Constantine in the air, free of all human events happening around him. In truth, one of Constantine's main problems was the uncontrollable disorder amongst presbyters and their belief in numerous gods. The majority of modern-day Christian writers suppress the truth about the development of their religion and conceal Constantine's efforts to curb the disreputable character of the presbyters who are now called Church Fathers. The peculiar type of oratory expounded by them was a challenge to a settled religious order. Ancient records reveal the true nature of the presbyters, and the low regard in which they were held has been subtly suppressed by modern church historians. In reality, they were the most rustic fellows, teaching strange paradoxes. They openly declared that none but the ignorant was fit to hear their discourses. They never appeared in the circles of the wiser and better sort, but always took care to intrude themselves among the ignorant and uncultured, rambling around to play tricks at fairs and markets. They lard their lean books with the fat of old fables, and still the less do they understand, and they write nonsense on vellum, and still be doing never done.
And this is the same practice that's being done now. They plague on the ignorance. They never want to stand before the wise. They plague on the ignorance because when they're ignorant, people that's ignorant are just like the Bible said, you're just a sheep, right? When you become a shepherd of yourself, when you become a shepherd of your identity, your culture, it's hard to swingle people. And when they see that you're waking up and you're questioning their beliefs, they demonize you. They see you as a threat because you can be the piece that can remove the shackles and the hypnosis from brothers and sisters. So this is why they don't confine the wise. They stay with the ignorant. The ignorant will never set you free, people. Just remember that.
Clusters of presbyters had developed many gods and many lords, and new presbyterial groups clashed over attributes of their various gods, and altar was set against altar in competing for an audience. From Constantine's point of view, there were several factions that needed satisfying, and he set out to develop an all-embracing religion during a period of irreverent confusion. In an age of crass ignorance, with 9/10 of the peoples of Europe illiterate, stabilizing religious splinter groups was only one of Constantine's problems. The smooth generalization, which so many historians are content to repeat, that Constantine embraced the Christian religion and subsequently granted official toleration, is contrary to historical fact, and should be erased from our literature forever. Simply put, there was no Christian religion at Constantine's time, and the Church acknowledges that the tale of his conversion and baptism are entirely legendary. Constantine never acquired a solid theological knowledge and depended heavily on his advisors in religious questions. According to Eusebius, Constantine noted that among the Presbyterian factions strife had grown so serious, vigorous action was necessary to establish a more religious state. But he could not bring about a settlement between rival god factions. His advisors warned him that the presbyters' religions were destitute of foundation and needed official stabilization. Constantine saw in this confused system of fragmented dogmas the opportunity to create a new and combined state religion, neutral in concept, and to protect it by law. When he conquered the East in 324, he sent his Spanish religious advisor, Osius of Córdoba, to Alexandria, with letters to several bishops exhorting them to make peace among themselves. The mission failed, and Constantine, probably at the suggestion of Osius, then issued a decree commanding all presbyters and their subordinates be mounted on asses, mules, and horses belonging to the public and travel to the city of Nicaea in the Roman province of Bithynia in Asia Minor. They were instructed to bring with them the testimonies they orated to the rabble, bound in leather for protection during the long journey, and surrender them to Constantine upon arrival in Nicaea. Their writings totaled in all 2,231 scrolls and legendary tales of gods and saviors, together with a record of the doctrines orated by them.
Hey, the Bantu scrolls might be in there too. It might just be. Who knows?
Thus, the first ecclesiastical gathering in history was summoned, and is today known as the Council of Nicaea. It was a bizarre event that provided many details of early clerical thinking and presents a clear picture of the intellectual climate prevailing at the time. It was at this gathering that Christianity was born, and the ramifications of decisions made at the time are difficult to calculate. About 4 years prior to chairing the council, Constantine had been initiated into the religious order of Sol Invictus, one of the two thriving cults that regarded the sun as the one and only supreme god. The other was Mithraism. Because of his sun worship, he instructed Eusebius to convene the first of 3 sittings on the summer solstice, 21st June 325, and it was held in a hall in Osius's palace. In an account of the proceedings of the conclave of presbyters gathered at Nicaea, Sabinius, bishop of Heraclea, who was in attendance, said, "Excepting Constantine himself and Eusebius Pamphilius, they were a set of illiterate simple creatures who understood nothing." This is another luminous confession of the ignorance and uncritical credulity of early churchmen. Dr. Richard Watson, a disillusioned Christian historian and one-time bishop of Llandaff in Wales, referred to them as a set of gibbering idiots. From his extensive research into church councils, Dr. Watson concluded that the clergy at the Council of Nicaea were all under the power of the devil, and the convention was composed of the lowest rabble and patronized the vilest abominations. It was that infantile body of men who were responsible for the commencement of a new religion and the theological creation of Jesus Christ. The Church admits that vital elements of the proceedings at Nicaea are strangely absent from the canons. We shall see shortly what happened to them.
And the canons is being the Biblos. They refer to the Biblos or the Bible as the canon. I wonder why they named the Biblos the canon. Ask yourself these questions, people. Let us continue. Oh, and just an FYI, this is one of the tactics that was used to minimize, this is how they hide their hands of the origin of Christianity. They try to separate Jesus from what the Council of Nicaea was. All of it was to proclaim Jesus on this earth, okay? Just to throw that out there.
However, according to records that endured, Eusebius occupied the first seat on the right of the emperor and delivered the inaugural address on the emperor's behalf. There were no British presbyters at the council, but many Greek delegates. 70 Eastern bishops represented Asiatic factions, and small numbers came from other areas. Caecilian of Carthage traveled from Africa, Paphnutius of Thebes from Egypt, Nicasius of Dijon from Gaul, and Donus of Stridon made the journey from Pannonia.
That girl Magic, you see that name? The Caecilian of Carthage traveled from Africa. Write that down for me. Send it to me. Send it to me via text or put it through the DM. Because we're going to look into this person. We're going to find out who this person is. Okay? Cool.
It was at that puerile assembly, and with so many cults represented, that a total of 318 bishops, priests, deacons, subdeacons, acolytes, and exorcists gathered to debate and decide upon a unified belief system that encompassed only one God. By this time, a huge assortment of wild texts circulated amongst presbyters, and they supported a great variety of Eastern and Western gods and goddesses: Jove, Jupiter, Silenus, Baal, Thor, Gade, Apollo, Juno, Ares, Taurus, Minerva, Retz, Mithra, Theo, Phragapati, Attis, Durga, Indra, Neptune, Vulcan, Christi, Agni, Croesus, Pleiades, Huit, Hermes, Thulis, Thamos, Aegyptus, Iao, Aph, Saturn, Gichens, Minos, Maximo, Hecla, and Fernes. Up until the First Council of Nicaea, the Roman aristocracy primarily worshipped two Greek gods, Apollo and Zeus. but the great bulk of common people idolized either Julius Caesar or Mithras, the Romanized version of the Persian deity Mithra. Caesar was deified by the Roman Senate after his death and subsequently venerated as the divine Julius. The divine Julius, as Roman savior and father of the empire, was considered God among the Roman rabble for more than 300 years. He was the deity in some Western presbyters' texts, but was not recognized in Eastern or Oriental writings.
Now, when I try to explain to you and tell you where the origin of the term father and son, all of that from here, okay? I have yet to find any single scholar, biblical understander to break down or show me where one time that Abram, Isaac, Jacob, or any of the 12 patriarchs ever referred to God as Father. I'll wait for it. Thank you. Let us continue.
Constantine's intention at Nicaea was to create an entirely new god for his empire, who would unite all religious factions under one deity. Presbyters were asked to debate and decide.
That one deity became what? That one deity, that foundation became what? Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahoo, Yah, right? And now we even try to associate that with the creators of the universe, with the Biblos. Yeah. This is where you get Sunini, Nanini, masculine, feminine. I mean, it doesn't take rocket sciences to understand that. Masculine, feminine. Sunini is a masculine energy. You could just tell it. Superior. Nanini, nana, mami, ma, chill. Two. But under this foundation, under this doctrination, it's supposed to just be one. One deity. Yeah. Let us continue.
Who their new god would be. Delegates argued among that promoted the finer traits of their own special deity. Throughout the meeting, howling factions were immersed in heated debates, and the names of 53 gods were tabled for discussion. As yet, no god had been selected by the council, and so they balloted in order to determine that matter. For 1 year,
These people took a ballot to decide the God that was going to be in the Biblos. I cannot make this stuff up. Oh my G. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? I don't think they heard that.
in 5 months the balloting lasted. At the end of that time, Constantine returned to the gathering to discover that the presbyters had not agreed on a new deity, but had balloted down to a short list of 5 prospects: Caesar, Krishna, Mithra, Horus, and Zeus.
Now, what does all these names have in common? Krishna, Horus, that's where the story of Jesus comes from. I just want you guys to know that. That's where the story of Jesus, everything that you see, walking, healing, resurrected, that comes from Krishna, Horus. I didn't look into the Mitra. We already know who Zeus is, and we already know who Caesar is. But Krishna and Horus, same story. They took piece from each and made you the New Testament. Just wanted to just throw that out there. Let's continue.
Constantine was the ruling spirit at Nicaea, and he ultimately, to involve British factions, he ruled that the name of the great Druid god, Jesus, be joined with the Eastern Savior god, Krishna. Krishna is Sanskrit for Christ, and thus Jesus Krishna.
What did I just tell you? What did I just tell you? Yeah. Everything that you guys have been told has been a complete lie. Everything. Everything. Everything has been a complete lie.
Would be the official name of the new Roman god. A vote was taken, and it was with a majority show of hands, 161 votes to 157 votes, that both divinities became one god. Following long-standing heathen custom, Constantine used the official gathering and the Roman apotheosis decree to legally deify two deities as one, and did so by democratic consent. A new god was proclaimed and officially ratified by Constantine. That purely political act of deification effectively and legally placed Jesus and Krishna among the Roman gods as one individual composite. That abstraction lent earthly existence to amalgamated doctrines for the empire's new religion. And because there was no letter J in alphabets until around the 9th century, the name subsequently evolved into Jesus Christ. Constantine then instructed Eusebius to organize the compilation of a uniform collection of new writings developed from primary aspects of the religious texts submitted at the council. His instructions were, "Search ye these books, and whatever is good in them, that retain. But whatsoever is evil, that cast away. What is good in one book, unite ye with that which is good in another book."
Now I know I'm not gonna keep popping up. I'm just gonna let this play. I just wanted to say this one time, and I'm gonna just let the whole thing play through. You see that these people was taking bits from this story, that story, this story, that story. So when I tell you that they have taken a lot of writings from the Book of the Dead, this proves my point. When you read the Book of the Dead and you see what's being taken, now the question that I gotta ask is, they're taking what they perceive to be good, and they're letting go of the things that they perceive to be evil. Now the question that you gotta ask yourself is, what was the things that they was putting away perceived to be evil? And I'm gonna tell you what it is. It's anything that's gonna connect you to a divine order. See, they don't want you to connect to a divine order. They want you to connect to their new world order. Okay? Listen carefully, people. I know this is a lot right now. And then we got a whole lot more. But this is the last time. I just want to throw that out there so you guys can get a clear mind and not watch this thing in a state of trying to find fault. We trying to find facts. Okay? Let us continue.
And whatsoever is thus brought together shall be called the Book of Books. That there shall be no more war for religion's sake. Make them to astonish, said Constantine, and the books were written accordingly. Eusebius amalgamated the legendary tales of all the religious doctrines of the world together as one, using the standard god myths from the presbyters' manuscripts as his exemplars. Merging the supernatural god stories of Mithra and Krishna with British Chaldean beliefs, effectively joined the orations of Eastern and Western presbyters together to form a new universal belief. Constantine believed that the amalgamated collection of myths would unite variant and opposing religious factions under one representative story. Eusebius then arranged for scribes to produce 50 sumptuous copies to be written on parchment in a legible manner and in a convenient portable form by professional scribes thoroughly accomplished in their art. These orders, said Eusebius, were followed by the immediate execution of the work itself. We sent him magnificently and elaborately bound volumes of threefold and fourfold forms. They were the New Testimonies, and this is the first mention of the New Testament in the historical record. The Second Council of Nicaea in 786–87 denounced the First Council of Nicaea as a synod of fools and madmen, and sought to annul decisions passed by men with troubled brains. If one chooses to read the records of the Second Nicene Council and notes references to affrighted bishops and the soldiery needed to quell proceedings, the fools and madmen declaration is surely an example of the pot calling the kettle black. Constantine died in 337 AD, and his outgrowth of many now called pagan beliefs into a new religious system brought many converts. Later church writers made him the great champion of Christianity, which he gave legal status as the religion of the Roman Empire. Historical records reveal this to be incorrect, for it was self-interest that led him to create Christianity. Yet it wasn't called Christianity until the 15th century. Over the ensuing centuries, Constantine's new testimonies were expanded upon. Interpolations were added and other writings included. For example, in 397, John Golden-Mouthed Chrysostom restructured the writings of Apollonius of Tyana, a first-century wandering sage, and made them part of the New Testimonies.
For those that been tuning in to the weekly Awakening Hour, remember I spoke about the John Goldenmouth? Here you go. Listen to me. Watch the video.
The Latinized name for Apollonius is Paulus, and the Church today calls those writings the Epistles of Paul. Apollonius's personal attendant, Damas, an Assyrian scribe, is Demas in the New Testament. The Church hierarchy knows the truth about the origin of its epistles, for Cardinal Bembo, secretary to Pope Leo X, advised his associate, Cardinal Sadoleto, to disregard them, saying, "Put away these trifles, for such absurdities do not become a man of dignity." They were introduced on the scene later by a sly voice from heaven. The Church admits that the epistles of Paul are forgeries, saying, "Even the genuine epistles were greatly interpolated to lend weight to the personal views of their authors." Likewise, St. Jerome declared that the Acts of the Apostles, the fifth book of the New Testament, was also falsely written. The New Testament subsequently evolved into a fulsome piece of priesthood propaganda, and the Church claimed it recorded the intervention of a divine Jesus Christ into earthly affairs. However, a spectacular discovery in a remote Egyptian monastery revealed to the world the extent of later falsifications of the Christian texts, themselves only an assemblage of legendary tales. On February 4, 1859, 346 leaves of an ancient codex were discovered in the furnace room at St. Catherine's Monastery at Mount Sinai, and its contents sent shockwaves through the Christian world. Along with other old codices, it was scheduled to be burned in the kilns to provide winter warmth for the inhabitants of the monastery. Written in Greek on donkey skins, it carried both the Old and New Testaments, and later in time archaeologists dated its composition to around the year 380. It was discovered by Dr. Konstantin von Tischendorf, a brilliant and pious German biblical scholar, and he called it the Sinaiticus, the Sinai Bible. Tischendorf was a professor of theology who devoted his entire life to the study of New Testament origins, and his desire to read all the ancient Christian texts led him on the long camel-mounted journey to St. Catherine's Monastery. During his lifetime, Tischendorf had access to other ancient Bibles unavailable to the public, such as the Alexandrian Bible, believed to be the second oldest Bible in the world. It was so named because in 1627 it was taken from Alexandria to Britain and gifted to King Charles I. Today it is displayed alongside the world's oldest known Bible, the Sinaiticus, in the British Library in London. During his research, Tischendorf had access to the Vaticanus, the Vatican Bible, believed to be the third oldest in the world and dated to the mid-6th century. It was locked away in the Vatican's inner library. Tischendorf asked if he could extract handwritten notes, but his request was declined. However, when his guard took refreshment breaks, Tischendorf wrote comparative narratives on the palm of his hand and sometimes on his fingernails. Today, there are several other Bibles written in various languages during the 5th and 6th centuries. Examples being the Syriacus, the Cantabrigiensis, the Saravianus, and the Marcallianus. A shudder of apprehension echoed through Christendom in the last quarter of the 19th century, when English-language versions of the Sinai Bible were published. Recorded within these pages is information that disputes Christianity's claim of historicity. Christians were provided with irrefutable evidence of willful falsifications in all modern New Testaments. So different was the Sinai Bible's New Testament from versions then being published that the Church angrily tried to annul the dramatic new evidence that challenged its very existence. In a series of articles published in the London Quarterly Review in 1883, John W. Bergen, Dean of Chichester, used every rhetorical device at his disposal to attack the Sinaiticus's earlier and opposing story of Jesus Christ, saying that, without a particle of hesitation, the Sinaiticus is scandalously corrupt, exhibiting the most shamefully mutilated texts which are anywhere to be met with. They have become, by whatever process, the depositories of the largest amount of fabricated readings, ancient blunders and intentional perversions of the truth which are discoverable in any known copies of the Word of God. Dean Bergen's concerns mirror opposing aspects of gospel stories then current, having by now evolved to a new stage through centuries of tampering with the fabric of an already unhistorical document. In 1933, the British Museum in London purchased the Sinai Bible from the Soviet government for £100,000, of which £65,000 was gifted by public subscription. Prior to the acquisition, this Bible was displayed in the Imperial Library in St. Petersburg, Russia, and few scholars had set eyes on it. When it went on display in 1933 as the oldest Bible in the world, it became the center of a pilgrimage unequaled in the history of the British Museum. Before I summarize its conflictions, it should be noted that this old codex is by no means a reliable guide to New Testament study, as it contains superabundant errors and serious re-editing. These anomalies were exposed as a result of the months of ultraviolet light tests carried out at the British Museum in the mid-1930s. The findings revealed replacements of numerous passages by at least 9 different editors. Photographs taken during testing revealed that ink pigments had been retained deep in the pores of the skin. The original words were readable under ultraviolet light. Anybody wishing to read the results of the tests should refer to the book written by the researchers who did the analysis, the keepers of the Department of Manuscripts at the British Museum. When the New Testament in the Sinai Bible is compared with a modern-day New Testament, a staggering 14,800 editorial alterations can be identified. These amendments can be recognized by a simple comparative exercise that anybody can and should do. Serious study of Christian origins must emanate from the Sinai Bible's version of the New Testament, not modern editions. Of importance is the fact that the Sinaiticus carries 3 Gospels since rejected: the Shepherd of Hermas, written by 2 resurrected ghosts, Tyrannus and Lenthius, the Missive of Barnabas, and the Odes of Solomon. Modern Bibles are 5 removes in translation from early editions, and disputes rage between translators over variant interpretations of more than 5,000 ancient words. However, it is what is not written in that old Bible that embarrasses the Church, and this video discusses only a few of those omissions. One glaring example is subtly revealed in the Encyclopedia Biblica, where the Church divulges its knowledge about exclusions in old Bibles, saying, "The remark has long ago and often been made that, like Paul, even the earliest Gospels knew nothing of the miraculous birth of our Savior. That is because there never was a virgin birth. It is apparent that when Eusebius assembled scribes,
But when I tell you this, I'm the bad guy. All of it was lies. The whole entire story is a lie. Even all the way down to Sub-Sahara is a lie. Where was the location? Where, after the person died, somebody in such power? Think about this, people. I gotta show my face here. I gotta show my. I have to. I really need you guys to think about this. Just try to process this. Somebody, people to this day know about Shaka Zulu, know everything about him, everything. Some of these so-called Zillion people can trace their lineage thousands of years. Now, you're going to tell me that our savior, a black man, well, the savior that you guys are claiming to, is someone that walked, healed, brought people back to some God that's in the Biblos, because it's not the God of the creators. And out of nowhere, he dies, and nobody knows where he died at. Nobody knows where the body was at. Nobody knows nothing. Nothing. His mother, nobody knows where she's buried at. The father, nobody knows where he's buried at. His brothers, nobody knows where he's buried at. In fact, nobody can show me, not one person in the Biblos can show me where they are buried at. Not one. All the way down to the maidservants, you can't find it. I mean, come on, people. Why does it take, the Euro Christians, people themselves, to bring forth this truth for you to accept it for what it is? What happened to common sense? What happened to put in your understandings on the table and say, hold on, this doesn't make sense? If it doesn't make sense, then 9 out of 10 times it's because it's not true. It is a lie. Come on now. We yeah. Let us continue.
Scribes to write the New Testimonies, he first produced a single document that provided an exemplar or master version. Today it is called the Gospel of Mark, and the Church admits that it was the first gospel written, even though it appears second in the New Testament today. The scribes of the Gospels of Matthew and Luke were dependent upon the Mark writing as the source and framework for the compilation of their works. The Gospel of John is independent of those writings, and the late 15th century theory that it was written later to support the earlier writings is the truth. Thus, the Gospel of Mark in the Sinai Bible carries the first story of Jesus Christ in history, one completely different to what is in modern Bibles. It starts with Jesus, at about the age of 30, and doesn't know of Mary, a virgin birth or mass murders of baby boys by Herod. Words describing Jesus Christ as the Son of God do not appear in the opening narrative as they do in today's editions, and the modern-day family tree tracing a messianic bloodline back to King David is non-existent in all ancient Bibles, as are the now called Messianic prophecies, 51 in total. The Sinai Bible carries a conflicting version of events surrounding the raising of Lazarus, and reveals an extraordinary omission that later became the central doctrine of the Christian faith: the resurrection appearances of Jesus Christ and his ascension into heaven. No supernatural appearance of a resurrected Jesus Christ is recorded in any ancient Gospels of Mark, but a description of over 500 words now appears in modern Bibles. Despite a multitude of long, drawn-out self-justifications by church apologists, There is no unanimity of Christian opinion regarding the non-existence of resurrection appearances in ancient gospel accounts of the story. Not only are those narratives missing in the Sinai Bible, but they are absent in the Alexandrian Bible, the Vatican Bible, the Bizet Bible, and an ancient Latin manuscript of Mark, codenamed K by annalists. They are also lacking in the oldest Armenian version of the New Testament, in 6th century manuscripts of the Ethiopic version, and 9th century Anglo-Saxon Bibles. However, some 12th century Gospels have the now known resurrection verses written within asterisk marks used by scribes to indicate spurious passages in a literary document. The Church claims that the resurrection is the fundamental argument for our Christian belief. Yet no supernatural appearance of a resurrected Jesus Christ is recorded in any of the earliest Gospels of Mark available. A resurrection and ascension of Jesus Christ is the sine qua non, without which nothing, of Christianity, confirmed by words attributed to Paul. If Christ has not been raised, your faith is in vain. The resurrection verses in today's Gospels of Mark are universally acknowledged as forgeries, and the Church agrees, saying, "The conclusion of Mark is admittedly not genuine. Almost the entire section is a later compilation." Undaunted, however, the Church accepted the forgery into its dogma and made it the basis of Christianity. The trend of fictitious resurrection narratives continues. The final chapter of the Gospel of John is a 6th century forgery, one entirely devoted to describing Jesus' resurrection to his disciples. The Church admits, the sole conclusion that can be deduced from this is that the 21st chapter was afterwards added and is therefore to be regarded as an appendix to the Gospel. Modern-day versions of the Gospel of Luke have a staggering 10,000 more words than the same Gospel in the Sinai Bible. 6 of those words say of Jesus and was carried up into heaven. But this narrative does not appear in any of the oldest Gospels of Luke available today. Ancient versions do not verify modern-day accounts of an ascension of Jesus Christ, and this falsification clearly indicates an intention to deceive. Today, the Gospel of Luke is the longest of the canonical Gospels because it now includes the Great Insertion, an extraordinary 15th century edition totaling around 8,500 words. The insertion of these forgeries into that Gospel bewilders modern Christian annalists, and of them the Church said, "The character of these passages makes it dangerous to draw inferences." Just as remarkable, the oldest Gospels of Luke omit all verses from 645 to 826, known in priesthood circles as the Great Omission, a total of 1,547 words. In today's versions, that hole has been plugged up with passages plagiarized from other Gospels. Dr. Tischendorf found that 3 paragraphs in newer versions of the Gospel of Luke's version of the Last Supper appeared in the 15th century. But the Church still passes its Gospels off as the unadulterated Word of God. As was the case with the New Testament, so also were damaging writings of early Church Fathers modified in centuries of copying, and many of their records were intentionally rewritten or suppressed. Adopting the decrees of the Council of Trent, the Church subsequently extended the process of erasure and ordered the preparation of a special list of specific information to be expunged from early Christian writings. In 1562, the Vatican established a special censoring office called Index Expurgatorius. Its purpose was to prohibit publication of erroneous passages of the early Church Fathers that carried statements opposing modern-day doctrine. When Vatican archivists came across
1556, people. This is around the same time, slavery was getting ready to be put together. Okay? This is where you can't give no opinions, no nothing against this new writings that they're putting together. even though that the people that when they was putting it together, the old scholars were still alive saying this is complete BS. It was written into law that you could not say nothing. So when they add things into it, add locations, it was with a agenda. They wanted your land forever. And they want you to focus on never, ever, ever, ever getting together. That's exactly what they was doing. Come on, people. This is not me saying this. This is them. Let us continue.
Genuine copies of the Fathers, they corrected them according to the Expurgatory Index. This church record provides researchers with grave doubts about the value of all patristic writings released to the public. Important for our story is the fact that the Encyclopedia Biblica reveals that around 1,200 years of Christian history are unknown. Unfortunately, only few of the records of the Church prior to the year 1198 have been released. It was not by chance that, in that same year, Pope Innocent III suppressed all records of earlier church history by establishing the secret archives. Some 7.5 centuries later, and after spending some years in those archives, Professor Edmund S. Bordeaux wrote, "How the Great Pan Died." In a chapter titled "The Whole of Church History is Nothing But a Retroactive Fabrication," he said this, in part, "The Church antedated all her late works, some newly made, some revised, and some counterfeited, which contained the final expression of her history. Her technique was to make it appear that much later works written by church writers were composed a long time earlier, so that they might become evidence of the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd centuries." Supporting Professor Bordeaux's findings is the fact that in 1587, Pope Sixtus V established an official Vatican publishing division and said in his own words, "Church history will now be established. We shall seek to print our own account." Vatican records also reveal that Sixtus V spent 18 months of his life as Pope personally writing a new Bible. There is something else involved in this scenario, and it is recorded in the Catholic Encyclopedia. An appreciation of the clerical mindset arises when the Church itself admits that it does not know who wrote its Gospels and Epistles, confessing that all 27 New Testament writings began life anonymously. It thus appears that the present titles of the Gospels are not traceable to the evangelists themselves. They are supplied with titles which, however ancient, do not go back to the respective authors of those writings. The Church maintains that the titles of our Gospels were not intended to indicate authorship, adding that the headings were affixed to them. Therefore, they are not Gospels written according to Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John, as publicly stated. The full force of this confession reveals that there are no genuine apostolic Gospels, and that the Church's shadowy writings today embody the very ground and pillar of Christian foundations and faith. The consequences are fatal to the pretense of divine origin of the entire New Testament, and expose Christian texts as having no special authority. For centuries, fabricated Gospels bore church certification of authenticity, now confessed to be false, and this provides evidence that Christian writings are wholly fallacious. After years of dedicated New Testament research, Dr. Tischendorf expressed dismay at the differences between the oldest and newest Gospels, and had trouble understanding how scribes could allow themselves to bring in here and there changes, which were not simply verbal ones, but such as materially affected the very meaning, and, what is worse still, did not shrink from cutting out a passage or inserting one. After years of validating the fabricated nature of the New Testament, a disillusioned Dr. Tischendorf confessed that modern-day editions have been altered in many places and are not to be accepted as true. The important question then to ask is this: if the New Testament is not historical, what is it? Dr. Tischendorf provided part of the answer when he said in his 15,000 pages of critical notes on the Sinai Bible that it seems that the personage of Jesus Christ was made narrator for many religions. This explains how narratives from the ancient Indian epic, the Mahabharata, appear verbatim in the Gospels today. For example, Matthew chapter 1 verse 25, chapter 2 verse 11, chapter 8 verses 1 to 4, chapter 9 verses 1 to 8, and chapter 9 verses 18 to 26, and why passages from the phenomena of the Greek statesman Aratus of Sicyon are in the New Testament. Extracts from the Hymn to Zeus, written by Greek philosopher Cleanthes, are also found in the Gospels, as are 207 words from the Thais of Menander, one of the 7 wise men of Greece. Quotes from the semi-legendary Greek poet Epimenides are applied to the lips of Jesus Christ, and 7 passages from the curious Ode of Jupiter are reprinted in the New Testament. Tischendorf's conclusion also supports Professor Bordeaux's Vatican findings that reveal the allegory of Jesus Christ derived from the fable of Mithra, the divine Son of God, also known as Ahura Mazda and Messiah of the first kings of the Persian Empire around 400 BC. His birth in a grotto was attended by magi who followed a star from the east. They brought gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh, and the newborn baby was adored by shepherds. He came into the world wearing the Mithraic cap, which popes imitated in various designs until well into the 15th century. Mithra, one of a trinity, stood on a rock, the emblem of the foundation of his religion, and was anointed with honey. After a last supper with Helios and 11 other companions, Mithra was
I hope you guys are listening to this story. I hope you are listening to this story. Let us continue. I have a whole lot to say after this is done.
crucified on a cross, bound in linen, placed in a rock tomb, and rose on the 3rd day or around 25th of March. The full moon at the spring equinox, a time now called Easter, after the Babylonian goddess Ishtar. The fiery destruction of the universe was a major doctrine of Mithraism, a time in which Mithra promised to return in person to earth and save deserving souls. Devotees of Mithra partook in a sacred communion banquet of bread and wine, a ceremony that paralleled the Christian Eucharist and preceded it by more than 4 centuries. In essence, Christianity is an adaptation of Mithraism welded with the Druidic principles of the Chaldees, some Egyptian elements, Greek philosophy, and various aspects of Hinduism. It is not possible to find in any legitimate religious or historical writings compiled between the beginning of the 1st century and well into the 4th century any reference to Jesus Christ and the spectacular events that the Church says accompanied his life. This confirmation comes from Frederick Farrar of Trinity College, Cambridge. It is amazing that history has not embalmed for us even one certain or definite saying or circumstance in the life of the Savior of mankind. There is no statement in all history that says anyone saw Jesus or talked with him. Nothing in history is more astonishing than the silence of contemporary writers about events relayed in the 4 Gospels. This situation arises from a conflict between history and New Testament narratives. Dr. Tischendorf made this comment: "We must frankly admit that we have no source of information with respect to the life of Jesus Christ other than ecclesiastic writings assembled during the 4th century. There is an explanation for those hundreds of years of silence. The construct of Christianity did not begin until after the 1st quarter of the 4th century, and that is why Pope Leo X called Christ a fable."
Well, there you have it, people. Another fable, another story, another deception, another confusion, another belief, insertions, and forced doctrine upon our people. Now, my sis said she's heartbroken that our fellow Bantus is being misled and deceived. I feel you, my sister. I feel you. I know where you coming from. Trust me. When I was uncovering these things and finding these informations, it hurted my heart too. And it still hurts my heart. It still hurts my heart because we are now in a space where we are allowing Euro Christian ideology to navigate our very existence. We are allowing Euro Christian ideology to navigate our very existence. But what do you guys think? You guys think what was said is blasphemy? You thinking it's untrue? And if it's untrue, like I said, if it's untrue, then provide us with the facts. Allow me to see the facts. Allow me to not just see the facts, read the facts, identify the facts. And the facts are locations, people, testimonies. All of that has to manifest with each other in order for you to bring any so-called facts to the table. You see, we in a space now. If we do not, and I repeat, if we do not fix these things, we're going to be destroyed. You see, even when you was reading, I don't know if you guys was catching it, but even at the bottom, they're telling you that these writings, they're the ones that's causing these so-called prophecies, right? It's not prophecy, it's propaganda. They are controlling the narrative. They are navigating society how they want it to be navigated. This is the reason why the Biblos was given unto you in the first place, people. It wasn't about salvation. It wasn't. It was about keeping civilization, keeping those civilized, the victims civilized, keeping you in a state of comfortability, put you in a hypnosis trance where you believe that somebody is gonna come and save you. Somebody that, according to their very own records, their people never even existed. And if he didn't exist, and the story in the Biblos is a counterfeit, then the story of him being in Sub-Sahara, that didn't exist neither. It didn't. I'm sad to be the ones to burst your bubble, but it didn't. A lot of our brothers and sisters that's over there are just products of colonialism. They're just the aftermath of colonialism. They are the children's children of this satanic order. This is not who we are. We are. We are the El Kebulan spiritual people. Here in the West, we are the El Kebulan kidnapped. We have been kidnapped. Okay? The people that's in the land, they have been hijacked. Okay? Retaught. Okay? Everything. All the way down to the very history. Okay? You guys, I mean, it gotta come to a time where brothers and sisters see certain things is not making sense. And that's all I'm trying to bring to the people, is to bring a level of common sense back. It seems like when you are involved or invested in religion, right? It's like your mental coins is gone because you're so invested into believing something that you don't even have the ability to put 1+1 = 2. If it's not 2, then somebody's lying to you. Our people, my sisters, I got sisters that's literally fully invested, right? Going to historical schools and learning such things of the Biblos. And even they are confused. Because this is a worldwide attack. We, and I'm saying we as the El Kebulans, the El Kebulan kidnappers, we need to connect back to our African roots. I had to play this video for you guys so you guys can see and hear it from the horse's mouth themselves and understand what's going on. Take the Euro-Christian rebuttal nonsense that these people have installed into your mind, that the lies, in the end time, many shall depart from the faith. There's no faith. That joint is fake. People are departing from the faith. Don't let the Euro-Christian rebuttals steer you from tapping into who you are, tapping into your ancestors, tapping into your family. Go find them. Start off with, you know you from Jamaica? All right, cool. Where in Jamaica? Then from there, which island, which part of the continent was you taken from? You got to find these things. No, you wasn't taken from England and then you moved to Jamaica. No, that's not what happened. It was England Mundem, right? That took the Mundem and the woman them and sent them to a foreign land them and taught them the language them. Okay? That's how you learn to speak that patois like that. Of course, you had to put the El Capulan flavor behind it. Of course. Our people do not know none of these things. I'm trying to set up a interview with my sister and let her come on. Born and raised in South Africa. Will tell you off the gate, nah. We don't do these things. These things, like she, quote unquote, what she said, they brutally forced us into accepting their so-called religion called Judaism. Brutally. That's verbatim. She said brutally. She said they forced all these religions down our throats. They divided everywhere. They had missionaries bringing forth Allah. They had missionaries bringing forth Jesus. They had missionaries bringing forth Moses. Relocating, finding certain parts of in the map, finding certain areas, bringing it back and saying, put that in the book. They was scoping the place in 15 something, if not earlier. And they had to make sure that everything was copacetic and perfectly put together by the time 1611 occurred. Because by 1619, brothers and sisters would have been in various locations in complete servitude. All of these things go hand in hand. You can't have, there's no religion without slavery. There's no slavery without religion. All of it goes hand in hand. All these Abrahamic religions all teach the same thing. They teach genocide upon black people and they teach slavery upon black people. And my waking up came when I was like, wait, hold on. So why would the Creator, according to the Biblos, kill innocent children when it's forbidden to even harm innocent children? But then as I'm reading, I'm seeing not only is he instructing it, he's in complete compliance and agreement, giving commands. He told Joshua, bring your ass into that land, slaughter, take everything, take their royals and everything, and also rape their women. And any child that's alive, you kill them. This is what's in the book, guys. But then you're gonna tell me that this is a story about our family. This is a family story, but I'm watching my family be executed. I'm watching children who has nothing to do with war, who has nothing to do with nothing, being executed. Even when you hear Levi and Simeon, when they went to defend their sister, they went over there and they was killing innocent children. Now the question I gotta ask is, what's up with the infatuation with the disrespecting of women and the bloodshed of children? Like, what's up with that? Hmm? Why is that such a glorified thing within the Biblos? And for my ladies, my sisters, come on now. You telling me a beautiful creation, the most important species next to a man, you are given the least amount of authority, position. You can't even speak. The Bible says you're not allowed to talk. Close your mouth. Shut your face. Ask your man to speak. Honey, can I go get some juice, please? Meanwhile, the man can't function without a strong, dominant woman. What I mean by that is, a woman that's strong, gonna make sure that her man is strong because she's just as important as the man. And if you thinking I'm lying, then why is it so Nene, not Nene? I know you guys wish it was just Yahweh, Yahushua, your hoo and the cuckoos and the poo poos. I know. I know y'all wish that. But like I told you guys before, monotheism is not of us. That's not of our culture. We did not know what that was. Okay? That was a practice that was done in Egypt, and it was stolen by the Europeans, and then they started to follow it and indoctrinate people to be a part of the madness. We don't know what that is. The name alone lets you know that we don't know what that is. The name alone lets you know that we don't know what that is. Even when you go look up, when you go look up the name like Ulamari, they're gonna tell you the owner of the womb. That's not a man. But then they're gonna also tell you the names, the secondary powers that people gave worship to. I'm not trying to hear none of that. Oh, listen, if you say Jews is believing in multiple deities, then so be it. So be it. Because I'm on the path of trying to find my identity. I'm not holding myself hostage based on Euro-Christian ideologies. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. When I went to see Mama, Sister Bella, Mama Love, when I went to go see her, Professor Bella, when I went to go see her work, the minute I walked in there, they had the voodoo, you know what I'm saying, chanting, they was singing, they was dancing, you know what I'm saying, pure Haitian vibe. I'm like, yo, son, like, I gotta find out what's going on. I gotta find out what's going on. Because I spent my entire my entire 20s and 30s, I spent my entire time investing into believing that, you know, you got to keep the commands and this and that, et cetera, et cetera. And we ain't got nothing to show for it. We don't got no land, we don't got no hospitals, we don't got no banks, we don't got no schools. We don't have land, we don't have a camping ground, we don't have a plane, we don't own nothing. Nothing. Just a bunch of niggas trying to be top scholars. Everybody want to be a top scholar. Regurgitating the same story over and over and over and over. And dude's rise to fame is about how much people is subscribing, following. They think that that's the justification of God that's with them doing the works. You really think so? You really think that's what it is? Or can it be the total opposite? Oh, that's just another form of our control. Yeah, let them have that. Because what are they teaching that the Christian church is teaching? Everything's gonna be all right. Jesus got it. Masindisi got it. Yahweh Shai got it. Yeshua got it. The kingdom of God is at hand. The same script, but all of it is lies. All of it is lies. And it's because of a belief that's been passed on to you for generations. It's hard for you to believe it. But it's our job to break out of it. I broke it out because I know what's greater is more important. What's more important is my children. What's more important is my people. I see what this Euro-Christian ideology has done to my people. I watch it every day, every time I go outside. I see it's turning men into betas. It's turning women into men. It's making women say, I don't need a man. It's making men say, it doesn't matter. I can be with a man or I'll be by myself. This is coming from the ideology. Religion is the governing of the entire world, bro. Do your homework. When they say you can't, the government and church is not one, that's a lie. The church is over the government. If the government and the church wasn't one, then why are high elective officials going to see the Pope and kissing his hands and bowing down on their knees? Why are these dudes going into the Wailing Wall and they shaking their heads? If these things wasn't one in one, if these things wasn't one and the same, come on. It's just so frustrating that we see things like this. We see it around us, and we substitute the facts with beliefs and hope and insertions and assumptions. I posted something showing you one of the original Hebrew Israelites in New York City. One of the original. I don't know if he's dead or alive. I don't know. But the OG let it be known that the 12 tribes chart is inaccurate. They only did it to gain followers because in the 1960s, it was a high renaissance of black people. Black people was converting into Islam. Black people was following Martin Luther King. And when these people died, brothers and sisters was in an outrage. They wanted something, they needed some place to go. So what's the perfect thing to pitch other than, look, man, the Bible said this is you. And there was a brother, I forgot his name. He's another Hebrew Israelite individual. And this man fell down. He was working in elevators. He fell off the elevator, broke his leg. Was sidelined for like six months to a year. Couldn't move. All he did was read the Bible. And out of nowhere, he caught the revelations of these 12 tribes. He seen Simeon and Levi as brethren and took that as being the story of Haiti and Dominican Republic. Because it says Simeon and brethren. That's all it said. Simeon and Levi as brethren. That's all it said. That's my brother. Nothing after that. You can look in the book of Jasher. You can look in the book of Jubilees. All these people's books, you'll see nothing that correlates with such claims that's stating that we are brothers. How? When those people, the mass majority of those people, were mixed breeds with the Taínos. Some of them were Taínos. That's why they hair like that. That's why they look like that. I mean, come on, man. Come on, man. We gotta do better, man. Like for real. All jokes aside, we really gotta do better, man. Just the same sit down. And I'm tired of sitting down. I'm tired of sitting down. You should be tired of sitting down. Some of you guys are older than me. You've been sitting down longer than me. You should be tired of sitting down. You should be fueling the fire, passing on that torch to the youth, them, preparing them, prepping them, building them up, not breaking them down because they're doing et cetera, et cetera. They're doing et cetera, because you ain't outside to stop the et cetera, et cetera. Everybody's scattered. I do lives and you guys see me outside. I do, you know what I'm saying? I do boxing. I'm with the youth. Like I do this. Like this is my profession, bro. I do this. But you guys, a lot of you guys is just chitty chat, man. Chat GPT, bro. And we sitting here, and not only you chatting, but you guys is bringing forth foolish doctrine, man. It's a doctrine of the enemy, and we giving this to each other. We passing this on to our children. We telling mothers and fathers that this is what it is, and pass it on to your children. And your children is looking like, for real, this is what we got to do. And you're like, yes. Meanwhile, the entire world is flipping all around us. Come on. The creators is waiting for us, but they're not coming in the way that you want them to come. You thinking that they're going to come to you. No, you need to come to them. You need to submit yourself unto them. They are connected to the things that these people demonized and said it was evil. Anything that these people say, I'm going to do the total opposite. These people say you need to drink 5 bottles of water a day. I'm only drinking 1. Anything that these people do, I'm going to do the total opposite, because history shows that they were never for my best interest. Prime example, these people told you that they created something to protect you from something, right? And it's about the safety about you, the health and the longevity about you. But I can take you to the hood and show you 15 fast foods that is proven facts to cause cancer, diabetes, cardiovascular. Proven. But you don't listen. Oh man, this joint crazy. It's really, really crazy. I'm like lost for words. I'm lost for words, because it's like, what else do I tell you guys? I had to change the name. I had to, like, all of that gotta go. ROD is not repent or die anymore. ROD stands for redeem or destroy. It's either we're gonna redeem ourselves, or we're going to be destroyed, or we're going to destroy it all. Either or. That's what's going to be. December conversation is the verdict now. Facts over beliefs. What's the verdict? The verdict is you have been found guilty for treasoning. You have been found guilty for lies. You have been found guilty for genocide. You have been found guilty for kidnap, for sex trafficking. You have been found guilty. And anybody that's with those people, you are found guilty as well. And your judgment will be death, bro. This is a fact. The judgment will be death, because you will have to pay for what was done to the El Kebulan kidnaps, bro. We was kidnapped. Don't you never forget that. You was kidnapped. And our freedom is more important than anything on the earth. Don't give a damn about no job. Don't give a damn about much money. Don't give a damn about no house. Don't give a damn about nothing. We want freedom. We want freedom. We want our land. We want separation. Listen, it's only 2 things that's going to happen. This final war, with all this technology and all these nuclear stuff, they still not going to be able to win. Because when the creators come inside of us, I'm telling you, I'll show you videos, man. But dudes is shooting a shot, and the thing, pew, they didn't even touch the board. Some of you gonna think it's fake. Not fake, because I see it with my own 2 eyes. You have a power in you so powerful that when you release this ideology from you, and you start seeking that, and I mean complete pure righteousness in pursuit of that, when you receive that, not even the God of the Bible can stop you. That's the verdict. On today's show, the verdict was you have these people has been found guilty for forgery, has been found guilty for lies, has been found guilty for insertion, plagiarism. They have been found guilty. Now the question is, what are you guys going to do? Are you going to allow the convicted to conflict your soul? Or are you gonna put the convicted where they belong? And that's in the bottom of that hole, with the doors locked and the keys thrown away, where they can rest there for eternity. And right now, the only thing that right now, what I'm saying, when I talk about the physical, because you're gonna have these emotional heathens and Hebrews talking crazy. We talking about the ideology, putting it in where it belongs, in the bottom of the hole, with the keys locked, thrown away. Throw the key into the Atlantic Ocean to never to ever be retrieved again, because they are guilty. Any questions, guys? and I see what YouTube is doing, and I see what a lot of you guys is doing, man. A lot of you guys are upset, you angry. Some of you guys is very angry and upset and disappointed. Don't be disappointed in me, but you're very upset because you thought that I will be the one to bring forth the Euro-Christian ideology with an African twist to it and say, yes. John chapter 8, verse 44 said, you are of your father, the devil, and the lust. Yeah, I said all that until I found out all of that wasn't true. Until I found out that the creators was plural and not mono. Until I found out that the creators gave us spiritual powers, things that we was born with, because according to their word, it says we are made in their likeness and their image. Likeness is a characteristics. Likeness is the hair texture, how you talk, how you walk, how you heal, how you destroy. And if we have that, and the fact shows what we did when we used that to our benefit and liberating ourselves. Facts. This is not an insertion. This is not a belief. This is not an opinion. These are the facts. When you see that, then it makes sense into why these people are spending countless time and money into deceiving you, feeding you lies, telling you what your ancestors been doing from the very beginning that can be traced back thousands of years. You are allowing people that gave you information for 400 years tell you that that's bad. And you rather stand with the side of the enemy than stand on the side of your ancestors, the ones that was murdered, killed, destroyed. And you are allowing such foolish nonsense called the New Testament. I mean, the Old Testament, talking about we supposed to be keeping the command. No other God before me. No this, no that. Bah, bah, bah. So when you see your people doing chants and giving peace offerings to these so-called deities, because of what you was told in the Biblos, you deem your family, your customs, your culture as evil. But you upholding Euro-Christian ideologies, and not a single one of these brothers can speak Greek. Not a single one of these brothers can speak Hebrew. Not a single one of these brothers can trace this story back to Africa in its full and its full entirety. No, you can't find one person. One person. Everything is an assertion. It's a belief. We're gonna assert something here. Look, a location there. Look. We want the facts, bro. We need facts, people. Only the facts are gonna set us free. The verdict is in. If it's not the facts, then that means that joint lacks. That means it lacks evidence. And if it lacks evidence, it doesn't need to be around my residence. You understand me? Do you understand what I'm saying to you guys? But with that being said, people, I appreciate your time. I know usually I'm on all day, all night, but got other things to do. Still gonna bring forth this book out for you guys. And forget, okay? We'll bring this book out. I'm gonna work on it. Oh, and for the weekly broadcast, um, I was just thinking about this when I was taking my shower. And I think it's time for me to go back and to expose, Christianity, but go back on my weekly broadcast and go back to just pure audio. You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys see my visuals all the time, right? So, it's time for me to go back to audio. So, you know what I'm saying? Give you guys another outlet into reaching me, right? And I'm gonna, be on my Spotify, my Apple, and all that, iHeart. You know what I'm saying? I'm on all these platforms, but I think it's time for me to go back into audio. Just for the Monday broadcast. Every week I deliver you guys a broadcast. I think it's time for me to go back to that. And I'm still gonna tap in every day at 9 a.m. But it's time for me to go back to that. There's a lot of people that likes to listen to podcasts, um, listen to podcast radio, and I want to go back to that. You know what I'm saying? I was doing the videos because I spoke to one of my brothers and he was like, "Yo, man, you gotta do videos." They like that, which is cool. Which is cool, but I gotta do I gotta do the audio because you guys see me too much. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to oversaturate you guys with what I'm saying, with my presence all the time. Right? So I'm gonna go back to that. I'm gonna definitely be having interviews. I gotta sit down, put up some schedules. You guys are gonna love the people that I'm gonna have come on the show. I definitely want to have my sister come on the show from South Africa. I'm gonna reach out to her. I'm gonna reach out to her today, see what she tells me, set something up. Definitely want her to come on, tune in, speak her truth, tell us what's really going on in the land, and just give us an understanding or a direction into allowing us to tap into our African culture, right? And I got another sister that's from the west side of Africa that definitely got to tap in with her too. You know what I'm saying? Like, we trying to find ourselves, man. That's all I'm gonna say. Man. We trying to find ourselves. We gonna find ourselves. This is the verdict, man. This is the verdict. Facts over beliefs. All right. It's your honorable Judge Jones. Court is out of session. I'ma holla.